The Pokrovsk direction is the most challenging direction, from Uspenivka and Udachne in the west to Vozdvyzhenka and Baranivka in the east. Ukrainian forces are counterattacking on both flanks. Ukrainian military expert Serhiy Zgurets said this. He recalls that on February the 11th, another stage of the long-range confrontation in the war of attrition between Ukraine and Russia took place. Ukraine's General Staff officially confirmed that the Ukrainian Armed Forces had hit the Rosneft oil refinery in the Saratov region. This plant processes a significant amount of petroleum products, fuel oil, gasoline, diesel fuel, including the fuel used to supply the occupying Russian army. Among other things, it produces fuel for Tu-95 and Tu-160 bombers, which, by the way, are based at Engels 2 airport, which is a half-hour drive from the Saratov oil refinery on the other side of the Volga River. This demonstrates the effectiveness of the strikes on the oil refinery, with the airfield also sustaining damage. Details are being clarified and the consequences are under investigation. However, it is clear that this is not the first time these facilities have been targeted. On January the 8th and the 14th, Ukrainian drones struck both the refinery and the airbase. This systematic effort is likely to continue. Overall, statistics indicate that in 2024, 14 to 15% of Russia's oil refining capacity had been shut down. This strategy not only disrupts oil refining, but also significantly reduces the supply of petroleum products to potential consumers within Russia. This decline is a direct result of the Ukrainian army's long-range deep strike strategy. Serhiy Zgurets says that the most difficult area in terms of the number of clashes is, of course, the Pokrovsk direction, from Uspenivka, Udachne, Kotlin in the west to Vozdvyzhenka, Baranivka in the east. This arc spans about 45 kilometers along the contact line. In this area, Russia has 2 armies and 1 division, but it's notable that Russia's advance has significantly slowed in recent weeks. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian armed forces are now carrying out counterattacks in several directions, primarily targeting the flanks. In the past, Russian troops often surrounded Ukrainian settlements from the flanks, which became a signature tactic of the Russian army. Now, however, the Ukrainian armed forces are focusing their counterattacks on the western and eastern flanks. Aerial reconnaissance officer Alexander Solonko, who provided insights into the events in this area, wrote about the Skala Assault Regiment. These are real beasts, an incredible combination of competent planning and the courage of those who chewed through the Muscovites' lines and ensured the establishment of interaction with other units. In other words, the Skala Assault Regiment played a crucial role in ensuring the effective advance in Pichany. As a result, Russian troops have been pushed back from several positions and are now in the process of reformatting their forces.
The Kremlin said Wednesday that a Russian citizen was freed in the United States in exchange for Moscow's release of American Mark Fogel, but refused to identify him until he arrives in Russia. According to Associated Press, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters that the unidentified individual would return to Russia in the coming days, and his name would be revealed when he returns home, unlike during past prisoner exchanges between Moscow and Washington, when Russians and Americans were released simultaneously and their identities were revealed right away. Recently, work has been intensified along the lines of the relevant departments. There have been contacts, Peskov said in a conference call with reporters. And the result of these contacts has been the release of Fogel, as well as one of the citizens of the Russian Federation who is currently being held in places of detention in the United States of America. This citizen of the Russian Federation will also be returned to Russia in the coming days. Asked by reporters if the Russian released as part of the deal could be Alexander Vinnik, Peskov said that the name of the man being freed would be announced upon his return. Vinnik, arrested in 2017 in Greece at the request of the U.S. on cryptocurrency fraud charges, was later extradited to the United States, where he pleaded guilty last year to conspiracy to commit money laundering. Fogel, an American history teacher who was deemed wrongfully detained by Russia, has been released and was returned to the U.S. on Tuesday in what the White House described as a diplomatic thaw that could advance negotiations to end the fighting in Ukraine. Fogel was arrested in August 2021 and was serving a 14-year prison sentence. Steve Witkoff, a special envoy for U.S. President Donald Trump, left Russia with Fogel and brought him to the White House, where Trump greeted him. Fogel, who is from Pennsylvania, was expected to be reunited with his family.
Россия освободила Марка Фогеля, бывшего сотрудника американского посольства в Москве. Он был приговорен к длительному сроку заключения за контрабанду наркотиков. В Вашингтоне возвращение Фогеля называют важным этапом в украинском кризисе. Ну а западные СМИ обращают особое внимание на высокопоставленного чиновника из команды Трампа, который подключился к диалогу с Москвой.
В последнее время по линии соответствующих ведомств была интенсифицирована работа, были контакты, и результатом этих контактов стало освобождение Фогеля, а также одного из граждан Российской Федерации, который в настоящее время содержится в местах лишения свободы Соединенных Штатов Америки. Этот гражданин Российской Федерации на днях тоже будет возвращен России. Естественно, таким договоренностям предшествует весьма и весьма скрупулезная работа переговорная. И, конечно, такие договоренности, они вряд ли способны стать переломным моментом, но в то же время по крупице это определенные шаги по наращиванию того самого взаимного доверия, которое сейчас находится на низшей точке.
Были сообщения американских СМИ о том, что спецпосланник Трампа Витков вчера встречался с президентом Путиным, причем более 3 часов. Все-таки была такая встреча?
Мне нечего вам сказать по этой теме. У меня никакой информации по этой теме для вас нет.
Трамп рассказал, что в среду может быть обмен еще один американец. Действительно так или нет?
Мне тоже по этой теме нечего сказать.
А правда, что России передадут Винника, Александра Винника?
Подождите, гражданин, когда будет на территории Российской Федерации, то будет известно его имя.
Участвовали ли третьи страны-посредники в организации обмена Фогеля?
Нет, в данный момент нам не о чем сообщить.
Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Tuesday that Moscow is not aware of U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East Steve Witkoff coming to Russia, Associated Press reported. There is no information, and we do not plan any contacts, Peskov told journalists. According to media reports, a plane allegedly belonging to Witkoff landed in Moscow on Tuesday. We said that we have certain channels, along the lines of various departments, we have contacts and they have really intensified, as we have already said, as the administration is establishing its activities in Washington. But in this case, nothing on the Ukrainian settlement, he added. Commenting on Trump's statement that Ukraine may be Russian someday, Peskov said that a significant part of it has already become Russian, referring to the occupied parts of Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia and Kherson regions. This largely corresponds to the words of President Trump, he said.